Good evening and welcome to a program devoted entirely to Lefties Losing It. We're going to get to some Super Bowl hijinks shortly, including Taylor Swift being booed aggressively while President Donald Trump was cheered loudly. Didn't that see the left meltdown? But let's start with Democrat Maxine Waters, who, along with other demented, democracy-denying lefties, tried to break into the Department of Education and accosted a federal employee standing in their way. Watch this utter lunacy.
Look them in the eye. Come on, hold your face up. Look at him. Let them see you. This is him. Look at it. What's your name? Tell us your name. Give me that ID again.
Giving you the ID, I showed it to you.
So what?
I showed you the ID.
You do what?
I showed you the ID.
Could you let me see the ID again? Huh?
No.
No? Will someone else ask him for the ID? Will you ask him for it? He won't let me see it again. You didn't see it. You didn't see it. They didn't see it.
Oh my God. Someone give that man a big fat pay rise. He deserves it. He's had a gutful of these juvenile antics from Democrat geriatrics.
Are you prepared to stand here all night if we decide to stay?
I guess, yeah.
All right, well, you just stay right there. You just stay and stay.
Why aren't you letting us go to that desk like we were able to do last year?
No, he's not a U.S. employee.
This is a public institution.
Did Elon Musk hire you? Who do you work for? Who do you work for? Are you not aware to be here?
Did Elon Musk hire you? Now let's check in on Hollywood has-been Richard Gere. You know, the dude whose career highlight was playing a businessman who falls for a hooker he picked up off the streets. He was in Spain for something called the Goya Awards, and he felt the need to share some dangerously delusional thoughts about President Trump and his supporters. Are you in shock, Richard?
And I'm in shock. My wife is in shock. We're all in shock. You know, the people spoke and they elected this president, and that's a fact. But I don't even think the people who elected him really believed that he was going to do what he said he was going to do.
Just how thick, how dangerously out of touch does one need to be to not understand that Trump supporters are ecstatic, over the moon about his first 3 weeks? They prayed he would follow through and deliver on all those election promises, and he has. Now, you may not like it if you're on the left, but deluding yourself into thinking that Trump supporters are upset, well, that's idiotic. But old Dick Gere wasn't done yet. Listen to this tiresome rant.
This is dark time in the U.S., and I think it's a time for everyone to stand up. You know, I was reading an article by someone, a Hungarian, who watched things change so radically under Orban. And he said, America better be vigilant, because we didn't know how fast this would happen in Hungary. And I can see this happening very quickly now. We have this incredibly dark marriage of power and money like we've never seen before.
Not only hysterical, but completely wrong. The money was with the Democrats. It has been for a long time. The majority of billionaires were with the Democrats, including the likes of George Soros, Bill Gates, Mark Cuban, Michael Bloomberg, and many more. That's why Kamala Harris was able to outspend Trump by 3-1. Here are some facts for Richard Gere from journalist and best-selling author Batia Ungasargon, who actually relies on facts, not just feelings and hyperbole. She wrote, Trump won folks making under $100,000, while the Democrats won those making over $100,000. Biden had 2 billionaires to every one Trump had. 2-1. 75% of hedge funders gave to Kamala. 9 out of the 10 richest counties, and 65% that are making more than $500,000, well, they're represented by the Democrats. But Richard Gere isn't going to let a little thing like inconvenient facts interrupt him spewing far-left nonsense.
I'm coming from a place now that we're in a very dark place in America, where we have a bully and a thug who is the President of the United States.
Oh, so asinine. And guess what? He references that article he read from a Hungarian again, but this time it's just a reader's letter in the New York Times.
But it's not just in the U.S., it's everywhere. Everywhere. You know, I read a really moving letter in the New York Times from a gentleman in Hungary, and he was the slippery slope of how this happens everywhere. Authoritarianism takes us all over. We have to be vigilant, we have to be alert, we have to be energetic, we have to be brave, we have to be courageous.
We have to be brave and courageous. These empty vessels like Gere are just so painfully dim. I just wish they would listen to the sage words of advice from Ricky Gervais. Remember a few years ago when he told them this?
If you do win an award tonight, don't use it as a platform to make a political speech, right? You're in no position to lecture the public about anything. You know nothing about the real world. Most of you spent less time in school than Greta Thunberg.
Okay, to the Super Bowl, and before we look at what actually happened, let's check in with a typical lefty Karen being miserable.
If you are having trouble still deciding who you are going to root for this weekend in the Super Bowl, may I give you just a couple of things to ponder over and think about. The Chiefs kicker is Harrison Butker. The same Harrison Butker who went on a tangent last year and has said that women need to leave their jobs and just be mothers and their sole responsibility is to take care of men. He's also a huge Trump supporter and would be first in line to be a commander when the Handmaid's Tale happens. Patrick Mahomes, who is the Chiefs quarterback, him and his wife, both huge Trumpers.
Let's hear what other reasons she has for picking your Super Bowl team.
Taylor Swift was born and raised an Eagles fan, and the only reason that she is now a Chiefs fan is because her boyfriend plays for the team. She is always going to be an Eagles fan.
Interesting mentioning Taylor Swift there. Watch here as the Kamala lover is booed mercilessly. Her reaction is priceless. Today, Donald Trump became the first sitting president to attend the Super Bowl, and the reaction from the crowd was huge, huge. From the moment he entered the stadium, any lefties watching, can I suggest you divert your eyes now, because I think this is going to just fill you with unbridled rage.
President Trump! We love you! We love you!
And even players were keen to shake the president's hand. That was Chiefs star Chris Jones. Now, we heard the boos when Taylor Swift was on the big screen. Listen to what happened when President Donald Trump was put on the big screen at the stadium. This is the way the national anthem was presented at the Super Bowl. It's a long way from Whitney Houston, a long way from Chris Stapleton. Remember that a couple of years ago? That's how you perform the anthem. But today, the NFL again insisted on having what is called the Black National Anthem. Let's see how that went. There is no place for separate racial anthems in my book. It's one nation, one flag, one anthem. Why is, 14% of the population entitled to an additional anthem? And we can't go a week on this program without including the lunatic ravings of the ladies of The View. Today it's Anna Navarro's turn, and she was talking about the Super Bowl of all things. But as usual, she was obsessed with two things, Donald Trump and her race delusions. Take it away, Anna.
You know I don't do sports. You know I don't do football, so I wasn't watching the game. But listen, I think today Donald Trump is going to sign an executive order banning black people from halftime.
And what is she basing this delusional fantasy on? She thinks racists were upset by the halftime show when really it was just people with ears.
Super Bowl made them feet, you're diabetic. Mouth
You full of deceit. I was telling.
Maybe an executive order to ban artists most of the audience has never heard of from halftime shows. That may be an idea. But let's get back to Anna Navarro's genius analysis.
We're talking about whether the NFL was capitulating to Trump by removing the term "end racism" from the end zone. Yeah. Boy, did they not capitulate to Trump. When I saw Samuel L. Jackson dressed as a black Uncle Sam introducing Kendrick Lamar, who then had like an entire formation of all black people making a U.S. flag.
Now, let's be honest, Kendrick Lamar's performance was pretty mid, as the kids say.
Burn this thing down, don't you play with me, stay with me. Crashing out right now, it ain't safe for me. Did it with integrity. These boys try to hate on me, just wait and see. More blood be spilling, this is pain to me.
Yep, it was pretty mediocre, particularly when we are used to the cream of the crop performing at the Super Bowl halftime shows. But Kendrick Lamar actually didn't politicise the 14-minute performance other than to take aim at Drake. There were no anti-Trump, anti-MAGA, anti-America messages. Once Anna and the ladies of The View figure that out, they're going to be pretty miserable. But the NFL did try to politicise the event by running this ridiculous commercial where a young black woman beats a team of men, a team of Brads.
Let's settle this once and for all. Your best guy?
Girl.
Whatever. Versus our best guy. The Brad.
Oh, not the Brad. I'm Brad.
I can read.
There you go. You got folded up, Brad. Get her. Okay. That's what I'm talking about.
These are the simpletons who pretend to be pro-women, but they throw women under the bus by supporting men identifying as trans women, invading women's sport. And talking about pretending to be pro-women while simultaneously throwing women under the bus, here is a Nike, painfully woke Nike, running an ad suggesting the real threat to women's sport is sexism. Reminder, this is the same Nike that used Dylan Mulvaney as an ambassador. But please, tell me how much you support girls and women's sport.
You can't be emotional, so be emotional. You can't take credit. You can't speak up. You can't be so ambitious. You can't break records. You can't have any fun. You can't make demands. Can't be proud. You can't keep score. You can't stand out. Whatever you do, you can't win.
Now let's hear from this totally rational woman, probably a fan of The View, who blames President Donald Trump for her team losing yesterday.
The reason why we didn't win because Trump was at the goddamn game. God damn it! Trump should not have been at our game.
It's time to check in with our friends at the lunatic asylum, identifying as the MSNBC newsroom. And I regret to inform you that Joy Reid is preoccupied with balls.
Take a deep breath for just a moment and ponder big balls.
Okay, I'm pondering, Joy. What happens next? Donald Trump walks through the door?
Have you all essentially made it clear to Mike Johnson that until they allow you all to subpoena big balls?
I really think we need to move on from this dangerous obsession, but apparently the leftist media is talking about nothing else.
Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with Musk and Big Balls.
Big Balls.
Big Balls.
Big Balls, who worked for Elon Musk's so-called Department of Government Efficiency, Doge.
In the one case of the Big Balls kid, a literal teenager.
Big Balls online, Big Balls here that Katie's talking about.
A 19-year-old that goes by the username Big Balls.
So that would be one way that we could refer to him.
Young computer whizzes, the aforementioned Big Balls.
Because who among us doesn't feel better about big balls, big balls?
We just saw Joy Reid's co-anchor at MSNBC, Rachel Maddow, I wonder what else she's pondering other than big balls.
All Republicans in the Senate voted tonight to advance the nomination of Tulsi Gabbard to be Director of National Intelligence. It's like saying that I could be a defensive lineman on the Philadelphia Eagles. Sure.
No, it's like saying you, Rachel Maddow, can be a hack anchor at a far-left activist news network with a teeny tiny audience of miserable Marxists. Now let's go to this beautiful moment on CNN, a spectacular self-own from Ashley Allison, a former Obama staffer.
I do not have the same opportunity as you. I know I don't.
And you know
and
that
I know
too.
West Scott.
And you know that
Let me just tell you about me. I got a law degree, a master's, and 2 bachelors. Probably more education than all y'all added up together at this table,
Fine
right?
by me.
And I have always been the least paid person on payroll at every institution I have worked in. And it's not
Even
because...
in the White House?
Even in the White House.
Well, whose fault is that? I don't think you worked for George W. or Trump.
Well, guess wasn't what happened when I was there. DEI.
Scott.
We're all clapping. Do you think she's figured it out yet? Outing her boss, Obama, as racist and sexist for underpaying her, supposedly, because of her colour and gender? Oh dear, the time has come to look at the antics of awfuls. That's AWFL, awfuls. It stands for affluent white female liberals or lefties. They like to think they are the saviours of us coloured folk, and some of them have started singing about it.
Trust black women, they lead the way. Trust black women, they lead the way. White women, stop abandoning your sisters. Trust black women, they lead the way.
Okay, that's enough. Please, please make it stop.
We're mad as hell. Oh, can't you tell? Oh, we're mad as hell. Can't you tell? We dissent, you fascists. Oh, we're mad as hell. Can't you tell?
Now to a dude who is deeply perturbed by his correct gender being listed on his passport. The teeny tiny M is making this lefty lose it.
My passport back, and they gave me an M gender marker. This is the country we live in. Now let me just clarify, I had an X passport before and requested it be changed to an F at the beginning of January. You can see it was issued February 4th, 2025. They gave me an M.
To 45 and 47, the Commander-in-Chief, who has always been masterful in dealing with lefty activist journalists. And this next dude from the Huffington Post got the Trump treatment.
Vice President suggested that if the Supreme Court rules in a way that she felt like, they could just enforce it by themselves. Do you agree with that?
I don't know even what you're talking about. Neither do you. Who are you with?
Up close, sir.
Who?
Up close.
I no wonder. I thought they died. Are they still around? I haven't read them in years. I thought they died. All right, go ahead. Who else?
To be honest with you, I thought the Huffington Post had died as well. Now to Democrat Congresswoman Maxine Dexter, who wants to have relations with the president. Good luck, lady.
I've been told I have 30 seconds, so I am going to tell you that we do have to. I don't swear in public very well, but we have to Trump. Please don't tell my children that I just did that.
Just when you think the shrews of The View couldn't sink any lower, they go and surprise you by mocking a cute little child. Apparently, Elon Musk's 4-year-old son, X, is fair game because Whoopi, yes, Whoopi Goldberg, has decided to mock his name.
Yesterday, Elon Musk took his son X to a press conference. I did not name the child. And I don't want to hear any more mess about our names, okay? Okay?
Oh.
Anywho, he took little X.
Funny.
A little Instagram.
He doesn't own Instagram.
He doesn't own Instagram. He just took little X with him to a press conference in the Oval Office.
You know what? X is an adorable name, and perhaps a grown woman who named herself Whoopi should refrain from mocking a 4-year-old for the name his parents gave him. Yes, Whoopi picked that name for herself. She's actually Karen Elaine Johnson. Now, how did Karen become Whoopi? You're going to love this. According to Goldberg, once I started getting parts in plays, I wanted a name that sounded more interesting. Karen Johnson wasn't it. Some people at the rep called me Whoopi because I would let loose with a fart. Just charming, charming. As for X, well, he seems to have more sense than the ladies of The View. Here he is with his father.
What should I do?
Save America.
And?
Help Trump.
Okay.
Now to more wacky antics from our friends on the left, and sadly these days that includes preachers. Many churches have been corrupted by far-left lunatics, and this one from Tennessee seems to be calling for violence against Elon Musk. Have a listen.
An attempt to take us back to a day that we do not want to go and we will not go. Therefore, there will be conflict. I pray that the peace of God will win out and overcome the madness that is attempting to take over this nation. And I will say to you, beloved, no one likes violence, but sometimes violence is necessary. When Elon Musk forces his way into the United States Treasury and threatens to steal your personal information and your Social Security check, there is the possibility of violence. Sometimes the devil will act so ugly that you have no other choice but to get violent and fight.
Say what now? Sometimes violence is necessary and the devil will act so ugly that you have no other choice but to get violent and fight? That's what he said. I hope Elon Musk considers some legal action, because that sounded like he was inciting violence. Now to Canada, where a reverend and LGBT activist is preaching that Christians should stop referring to Jesus as their saviour because it may be offensive to other religions.
There was one word in those bedrock beliefs that began for me to be uncomfortable: problematic. When people now come to our church, many of them will first check the website to see what this church is about, what they believe. And many of the folks who did that would tell me out in the community, Brent, I looked up your church and it sounded reasonable, but when I got to that word Savior, it was a problem. And it was a problem because I'm from another faith tradition. Or it's a problem because I don't believe that everyone has to accept Jesus as personal Lord and Savior like the fundamentalists say.
If you're from another faith, or you don't think you should accept Jesus as your Lord and Saviour, then what are you doing in a Christian church? I mean, really? Do you think anyone walks into a mosque and demands they stop being so preoccupied with Muhammad? I don't think so. If activists are running your church, then your church isn't really a church anymore. Now let's check in with possibly the most annoying woman in the world. Yes, even more annoying than MSNBC anchors and the ladies of The View.
If you're going to be a bigot with your whole ass chest. You'll have to forgive me, Pumpkin. My particular flavor of neurospiciness prefers bluntness. They, them isn't a singular pronoun. That you're spouting is wrong, cutie. Ask the APA, MLA, Oxford Dictionary, Merriam-Webster, ChatGPT, Wikipedia, and basically every source on the internet. Sweetie, they're all gonna tell you you're wrong.
I hate to break it to you, sweetie, but just because Wikipedia and other online resources have been corrupted by far-left lunacy doesn't mean you or they are right. It just means the rot is deep. It means the trans activists have managed to exercise disproportionate power in trying to convince folk that, I don't know, day is night, white is black, men are women. But sadly, there are plenty of brainwashed simpletons who have swallowed every argument put forward by the trans activist, and that includes the adult daughter of Tim Walz. You remember him, the man who wanted to be vice president. Here is his daughter ranting about Donald Trump's executive order protecting women's sport from male bodies.
Signing an executive order that pertains to 1% of the population is not protecting women. It's setting a dangerous precedent, and it is dangerous for the trans community, women, minorities, anyone who is not a straight white man. We are talking about human beings, and the President of the United States is targeting them.
Gosh, didn't we dodge a bullet not having that family in the White House, including Gwen Walz? Remember her?
Bye, Donald Trump. We are turning the page.
Ooh, terrifying. Instead of her, we got Usha Vance. I mean, can you think of a better upgrade? And talking about dodging bullets, we also dodged having Kamala as president and her family in the White House. Let's check in now with Kamala's adult stepdaughter, and she's spruiking some sort of body oil.
What I did realize about having body hair is someone always has something to say about it, whether it's good or bad. There's something very shocking still about body hair. Most commonly I see, I bet you smell bad, or damn, that's dirty. Little did and do they know I'm as clean as a whistle and heavily moisturized thanks to fur oil. I've been using this heavily in my daily routine for as long as I've had body hair.
And that's it from me.